Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. I'm Martin Warwick and I'm talking with Ravinder Shergill of TELUS. So we're going to be talking about SDN for network traffic management. How do you think telcos can utilise SDN to respond to the ever-increasing amount of data traffic that is flooding across the network?
There's several dimensions it can be used in. So naturally, virtualization, network virtualization, just the explosive growth in data. We can respond with more agility. We can ramp up more bandwidth. We can spin up more servers, more storage, more network capabilities more quickly. In addition to that, there's another dimension, which is our over-the-top competitors, the new breed of competitors, non-telco competitors. They've been using some of these techniques for a long time. So there's some learnings to be had by making the infrastructure more software-driven. We essentially are then in a better position to compete with them. So agility is the name of the game at the end of it. So throwing more bandwidth is part of it, but the agility is the other component.
How can they deploy SDN in the optical transport layer?
SDN allows for you to standardize the interfaces whereby I can stitch together logically the different layers, and essentially I'm simplifying the network for myself, for me to assure, for me to provision, and respond to the requirements, whether it's restoration during a failure or simply adding more bandwidth and so forth. So I'm unifying the control plane. I'm actually simplifying the control plane. I'm reducing the control planes into a single control plane from multiple layered approach, essentially.
And what about effecting more efficient traffic steering across the network?
So the previous question, the responses from it actually feed into it. So if you've actually streamlined the layers, you've simplified the control plane, and the layers are actually working in conjunction with each other as opposed to working independently of each other. So if I'm trying to do a restoration layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, in essence, they're competing against each other. So simply by making them work in conjunction with each other, that just simply improves the situation. So that means that I can address my traffic needs, my traffic types. I can look at the traffic flows with better granularity now, and rather than look at it in terms of percentages, am I 40% full, am I 50% full, I actually care more about what is actually filling those layers or those pipes. Is it, which application? Is it application A, is it application B, or is it application C? So it's really taking it from the crude percentages game into actually an application level, because ultimately that's what we care about on the devices.
And how does virtualization help at the very edge of the network?
So edge of the network is a critical piece of the networking. So I define the edge of the network in two dimensions. There's a subscriber edge, and then there's a peering edge. Peering edge is how I actually on-ramp our network onto the broader internet with our partners. And the subscriber edge is how I on-ramp my customers onto the network. So they're very critical in terms of what controls I have, and in terms of who is allowed to on-ramp onto the network, what level of bandwidth, what quality of service, what security, how much bandwidth they can consume. So really, edge is kind of the control piece. So I have lots of controls at the edge of the piece. So there's a lot of virtualized functions that take place there. So naturally, based on that description, so more functions that I do, more functions that I overlay, today they're done in a physical manner. So I have a platform per function, and by virtualizing, I can logicalize and I can do multiple functions, same platforms. It does two things. It reduces the total cost of ownership for me. It actually makes the edge more streamlined, whereby I'm not having to hop from one platform to the next to the next. I can actually now logically, I can switch those functions and still fulfill the same number of roles, but with more agility, with more speed, and hopefully and improve the end user experience by doing so.
Ravinder Shergill, thanks very much.
You're most welcome.